Hey, I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Monday, December 14th, 2020, and we are live. Hope everybody's doing well today. It's a very, very busy news day. We saw that the Electoral College voted today. They cast their votes today. And as most experts said, and as I said here on this show repeatedly, as we talked about on our Sunday night show, they voted for Joe Biden. On our Sunday night show, we broke down the last segment. We broke down what would happen when the Electoral College voted. They cast 306 Electoral College votes for Joe Biden. All the nonsense that Donald Trump said would happen, and they're going to send another slate of electors, and we're going to challenge this in the Electoral College, you know, after 55 plus lawsuits fell flat. And Joe Biden and Senator Kamala Harris officially became the president-elect and vice president-elect. So we'll talk about that. And this is exactly what we said was going to happen. How's everybody doing? Everybody share this broadcasting and social media platforms. Invite friends to tune in also. This is exactly what we said was going to happen. Okay. And as I've said before, Donald Trump and the rest of the bunch, they need to call the Jim, James, Paul, and Tyrone Moving Company and have them come pack their stuff so they can move out January 20th, 2021. The Jim, James, Paul. So tonight's show is sponsored by the Jim, James, Paul, and Tyrone Moving Company. They have a special 75% off discount for people moving from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. It's only good for one day. January 20th, 2021. Get 75% off. Use promo code DJT Pack Your Stuff. DJT Pack Your Stuff. It's only good for one address moving from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Only good for one day. January 20th, 2021. Call the Jim, James, Paul, and Tyrone Moving Company. Call 1-866 Call Tyrone, and I'll even let you use my phone. All right, so for entertainment purposes only, okay? All right, so we're going to talk about what happened there. Also, we see that the U.S. has reached another grim milestone, 300,000 coronavirus deaths as the first COVID vaccinations took place today. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about that as well. Then I want to deal. We also late today, Attorney General William Barr was announced. Donald Trump tweeted Attorney General William Barr would be departing. Okay, so there's been bad blood there's been tensions between the two of them. And so Attorney General William Barr to depart administration, Trump announces via tweet. We'll talk about that as well. I think his last day is going to be December 23rd. So William Barr was Donald Trump's henchman. Okay. But it appears there are certain things William Barr didn't want to do. And some people speculate there's going to be a deluge of pardons coming for Donald Trump's children and other people. And some people are suspecting that William Barr did not want to be a part of that. Okay. So we'll discuss that as well. And then we saw this past weekend, we saw Saturday, a bunch of Trump supporters and the Proud Boys, the Poor Boys. We saw them in Washington, D.C., and we see at least 23 arrested as crowds turn unruly after pro-Trump rally in Washington, D.C. There was you had 23 arrested. You had somebody who was stabbed. WRC TV reported that 4 people were taken to a hospital with stab wounds as well. So you had that second, they're just acting a fool. These are some of the people who we've said before have not realized that wrestling is not real, have not realized that Donald Trump is lying to them, have not realized that Joe Biden will be president. Joe Biden actually won the election. Okay. And then we see that you have more in the GOP admitting that Joe Biden won after the Electoral College voted today. Imagine that. They admit the obvious. Imagine that. They admit the obvious. Okay. They're coming around. They're coming out of their Fox News, Newsmax coma and starting to acknowledge reality. Some Republicans acknowledge Biden as president-elect after Electoral College vote. I'll be damned. Okay. Wow. They're starting to smell what the rock is cooking. Okay. All right. So we'll talk about that. And then December 11th, we'll deal with a history segment as well. December 11th, 1917, you had in Houston, Texas, you had 13 U.S. soldiers who were executed. 13 U.S. soldiers who were executed, and this also ties into the Houston riots as well. Okay, we're gonna talk about that. I didn't get a chance to talk about that December 11th when it happened. Also, we know December 13th was the birth date of one Ella Baker. Ella Baker, co-founder of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the SCLC. Ella Baker also helped to co-found SNCC, Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, as well. So probably on our Tuesday or Wednesday show, we'll talk about Ella Baker. All right. On our Sunday show, we talked about Red Foxx. Okay, John Elroy Sanford. John Elroy Sanford was his birth name, and he's known to the world as Red Foxx. We know December 9th was his birthday, born December 9th, 1922. And we talked about Hal Williams. Hal Williams played Officer Smitty on Sanford and Son. And then Hal Williams went on to play Lester Jenkins on 227 opposite Marla Gibbs. Well, today is Hal Williams' birthday also. Okay. Now, when I talked about Hal Williams yesterday, I didn't know it was his birthday today. It just happened like that. Okay. So we posted about that as well. So Hal Williams is still alive. He was born December 14th, 1934. He's 86 years old, born December 14th, 1934. So happy birthday to Hal Williams. All right. Now, on the African History Network show, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's correct wrong behavior. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you've been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. So when you control the radius of a man's thoughts, you can control the circumference of his actions, because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know. Now, we deal with a number of different topics here on the African History Network show. We deal with current events in history and politics, education, economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, relationships, love, sex, health issues, and much, much more. Sign up for our email newsletter. Text the word KEMET, KEMET, to 22828. To sign up for our email newsletter, text the word KEMET, KEMET, to 22828 to sign up for our email newsletter. Also visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, to sign up for our email newsletter there as well. Okay. If you like this type of information, you can donate to the African History Network, $, the AHN Show through Cash App, $, the AHN Show through Cash App, then also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show, paypal.me/the AHN Show. Okay, so being that we're here 6 days a week now instead of 1 day a week, that really helps out. We're here Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time, right here on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation, WFDF here in Detroit. And then we're still on Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. We're here Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to 12 midnight. And then we're still here Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation. All right. Be sure to download the iHeartRadio app. Also, you can listen to 9:10 a.m. the Superstation WFDF on the iHeartRadio app. Listen to all the shows Monday through Friday. Well, all the time, but Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. I'm on at night, and then on iHeartRadio, search for the African History Network show, the African History Network show, because we have a page there where our shows are podcasted also. All right, so let's jump into these topics here. And the call-in number is 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. All right, so when we look at the Electoral College that voted today, and they vote along the lines of the popular vote in the states, the respective states who won the popular vote in the States. We posted a big article from National Public Radio. They got a lot of views. Got over, I think now close to 3,000 likes. The one from National Public Radio. But the Electoral College met in all 50 states today. The 538 electors cast their votes based on the election results that were certified in every state and the District of Columbia. Every state and the District of Columbia. And I want to pull up the article also from NPR, National Public Radio, as well, that we posted. Electoral College affirms Biden victory as Trump continues baseless challenges. Electoral College affirms Biden victory as Trump continues baseless challenges. So President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Senator Kamala Harris received the needed majority of votes in the Electoral College on Monday, in another step putting them closer toward taking the White House January 20th, 2021. Now, just so people understand, it's not the Electoral College. There's no I in the word. It's electoral, just so people understand, okay? Following a presidential election year like no other in American history, that today included many unprecedented arrangements as electors met in state capitals, some locked down for fear of political violence, like here in the state of Michigan. At our state capitol in Lansing, it was locked down, closed to the public, because as authorities reported, there were credible threats of violence. So they closed it to the public. There was a group of Republican electors, a slate of Republican electors that showed up that tried to gain interest to cast their votes for Donald Trump. Michigan State Police wouldn't let them in. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. Okay. I know a lot of people talking about defund the police. This ain't one of those things. No, police did the right thing. They told them, keep your ass out of here. You know you don't belong here. Okay. So so following a presidential election year like no other in American history, the day included many unprecedented arrangements as electors met in state capitals, some locked down for the fear of political violence, in convention centers and online to dole out the nation's 538 electoral college votes. California's 55 electoral college votes pushed the ticket over the threshold of 270 needed to win. I watched that live on MSNBC. California has the most number of electoral college votes at 55. Texas has 38. Michigan has 16. Pennsylvania has 20, if I remember correctly. So it's based upon population. This is why the U.S. Census is so important. And this is why Donald Trump tried to put a citizenship question on the U.S. Census form, because he was trying to drive down the population recorded by the U.S. Census in Democratic leaning states that tend to have a higher population of immigrants, whether they're here, regardless of whether they're here, quote unquote, legally or undocumented. Okay. And it's tricky talking about being illegal in the U.S. when Europeans stole this land from Native Americans and African people. That's a whole nother show. Okay. But it's tricky talking about being illegal in the U.S. when a lot of this land belonged to Mexico. And you look at the Mexican-American War, 1846 to 1848, and the U.S. goes to war with Mexico over a territory dispute, which ends with the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo of 1848. And the U.S. gets Arizona, Colorado, Nevada, California, Utah, New Mexico, all from Mexico. Okay. And it's part of this whole manifest destiny ideology where Europeans are trying to take over the entire North American continent. And then you have like Louisiana Purchase of 1803, where the U.S. gets the equivalent to about 15 states, 838,000 square miles of land from France that was here. And this is land basically from Native Americans and African people that France sold to the U.S. Okay. And the U.S. is going to carve about 15 states out of that. Okay. Well, who the hell authorized France to sell the land? Who authorized France to sell the land? So it's tricky talking about it legal here. When you when you just got here, it's like real tricky trying to call other people illegal. So that's a whole nother show. Okay, we're not going to go there today. Well, we are going to go to the commercial. You listen to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation of Future Radio. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. Visit 4glossygirls.com. That's the number 4glossygirls.com, and follow them on Instagram at 4glossygirls.
Do you have an idea or business that requires app development or thinking of moving your IT resources to the cloud? We have postpaid and profit sharing plans for unique ideas or profitable businesses. Who can take advantage of this unique program? Entrepreneurs with unique ideas, startups, small to medium businesses. Contact us 267-209-0352.
Visit nomadicsystems.net, nomadicsystems.net today. Soul Naturally Products offers organic, plant-based skin hair care products that will rejuvenate and natural and thicken hair. Their whipped shea butter can heal or restore damaged skin cells to prevent hyperpigmentation and skin breakouts. All products are made with organic plant-based ingredients. Their maximum hair growth oil is fortified with organic herbal extracts and undeniably proves that Mother Nature knows best. It thickens, lengthens, softens, and conditions all types of hair. They even guarantee hair improvement within 90 days or full refund. Their all-natural 24-hour deodorant leaves the body smelling fresh without sweating for up to 24 hours. It does not stain fabric, goes on smoothly, and has a refreshing lavender and frankincense aroma. It can be used by men, women, and even children. Place your order today at soulnaturalbeautyproducts.com. That's soulnaturalbeautyproducts.com. Follow them on Facebook at Soul Natural Beauty Products. Intuitive Design Clothing is a store that sells one-of-a-kind statement pieces for and women. They also specialize in fashion consultations, closet organization, and decorating small spaces. Are you looking for a statement piece for a special fair, or would you like to add some select pieces to your ensemble accessories? If you look for something different, contact Kathy Norm, owner and CEO of Intuitive Design Clothing. Visit their website, intuitivedesignClothing.com. That's intuitivedesignClothing.com, and you can email her at info@intuitiveclothing.com. Intuitive Design Clothing is every entrance is an entrance. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation of Future Radio. Hey, I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Monday, December 14th, 2020, and we are live. Today is the 86th birthday of one Hal Williams. Hal Williams is best known as portraying Lester Jenkins on the TV show 227 opposite Marlon Gibbs, and also he's known as Officer Smitty, everybody's favorite police officer. I want police officers like Smitty and Hoppy. If we had police officers like Smitty and Hoppy, there would not be a police brutality problem. There wouldn't be racial profiling. I want officers like Smitty and Hoppy. Okay. From Sanford and Son. They were there to serve and protect. Okay. We talked. So you go back and watch our Sunday night show, because we did a tribute to Red Foxx. December 9th was Red Foxx's birthday. December 9th was Red Foxx's birthday, right? And we know that Red Foxx was born December 9th, 1922. His birthday was John Elroy Sanford. John Elroy Sanford. Sanford was his real last name. His brother he had an older brother named Fred G. Sanford Jr. His father's name was Fred Sanford. His brother was Fred Glenn Sanford Jr. So Fred Sanford, the character of Fred Sanford on Sanford and Son, was named after his brother, not of his brother. And his family, John Elroy Sanford, Red Foxx, was from St. Louis, Missouri. So on yesterday's show, we talked some about Officer Smitty and Hoppy. And see, one of the things was so crazy. We're gonna get to these stories here, but this is good. We get to this news. So they had a number of different character traits with Sanford the Son. So early in the series, Fred Sanford had that drawer full of eyeglasses, and only one pair worked, right? He had 50 pairs of eyeglasses, only one pair worked. But with Smitty and Hoppy, Officer Smitty, played by Hal Williams, he spoke two languages. He spoke standard English, and then he spoke jive. He spoke like street language, or the lingo of the brothers, right? So Hoppy, the white officer, he's standing there talking in standard English, right? And then Fred and Lamont look at Smitty and they look at Hoppy like, what is he talking about? So then Hoppy has to translate, okay? Did you get done in, right? Did you get ripped off? And then Smitty is trying to teach Hoppy the language of the people, but he never gets it right, okay? So he's like, oh, I heard you got torn off. That's ripped off. Oh, yeah, ripped off. So it was a classic show. I have all 122 episodes of Sanford and Son on DVD. Classic show. So happy birthday to Hal Williams. All right, so let's get back to the news. Let's get back to our news roundup segment, and then we'll deal with some history as well. So as most experts predicted, and people know what the hell they're talking about, predicted, the Electoral College certified the votes of the will of the people. Okay? So Trump supporters, they're sitting around, I guess, trying to figure out how to con more people out of money. And as we talked about the past couple of days, you have some Trump supporters who are realizing that wrestling is not real, and they're realizing they're being conned. Like this one businessman, Frederick Eshelman, who sued a pro-Trump election ethics group, citing disappointing results of effort to expose cheating. This dumbass donated $2.5 million to the pro-Trump group True the Vote. True the Vote is a pro-Trump election ethics group in Texas that promised to file lawsuits in 7 swing states as part of its push to, quote, investigate, litigate, and expose suspected illegal balloting and fraud in the 2020 general election. Well, it ain't go too well. It didn't go the way the player thought it was. He realized he'd been bamboozled, led astray, run amok. He'd been conned. So he asked for his money back. He's suing them. So they told him, look, we'll give you $1 million back if you don't sue us for the 2.5. He said, no, I want all my money back. Okay. So after 55, all these cases, they weren't winning them. He said, well, hold on, And then what was interesting, this is an article from the Guardian.com. This is hilarious because he got more sense than some of these dumbasses that were out there in Washington, D.C. Okay. A lot of them probably don't have health insurance. Some of them probably got to stand in the food line. Okay. Because of the coronavirus economy. He has more sense than them. He was dumb in the beginning, but he woke up. So when you read this article from the Guardian, right, it says he wired this group $2.5 million. He wired them $500,000 and $2 million on November 5th and 13th. Okay. He's seeking the return of the full $2.5 million that he says he wired based upon instructions he was given in chunks of $2 million and $500,000 on November 5th and November 13th. Okay. Then it talked about how he started suing them after they stopped returning his calls. They stopped responding to him. Let me see. What did it say? Made it necessary to pursue a different path. Announcing they had withdrawn. Yeah, they were withdrawing legal filings in Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, all 4 states that were won by Biden. But what happened was they stopped responding to him, started giving him vague answers of what was going on. And then he said, so the founder of Eshelman Ventures LLC, a venture capital company, said he asked, quote, regularly and repeatedly, end quote, for updates. The lawsuit asserts, but that his requests were consistently met with vague responses, platitudes, and empty promises. I wonder how many times they laughed at him behind their back. Okay. So, what I want to do is, this reminds me of emails that I get, periodically, that says, I'm the son of a Nigerian prince. I'm the son of a Saudi Arabian prince, right? I'm going to send you $2 million, but I need you to send me $25,000 to my Cash App, because I got to pay to get the smuggle this money out the country. Okay. So, this is what this reminds me of, right? I just send him a letter and say, I'm the son of the Prince of Wakanda. And I'm trying to smuggle out $2 million of vibranium from Wakanda. Okay. I need you to send me $25,000 to my Cash App so I can pay to bribe these people to get this $2 million worth of vibranium out of Wakanda. Okay. And then I'm going to mail it to you. Okay. Oh, man. All right. So let's go back to the article from National Public Radio. So California's 55 Electoral College votes pushed the ticket over the threshold of 270 needed to win. As later states voted, Joe Biden ended with the expected 306 Electoral College votes. That's what I told people he was going to end up with. That's the same amount Donald Trump got in 2016. Now, in 2016, Donald Trump said it was a landslide. Is it a landslide now, player? Is it a landslide now? Or is it because Joe Biden won the popular vote and the Electoral College vote. Joe Biden got more votes than any other president in history, presidential candidate in history. Okay. Joe Biden he's about 80 million. So is it a landslide now? I'm just wondering. So as later states voted, Biden ended with an expected 306 Electoral College votes. Congress is set to meet on January 6th to count the votes. Biden and Harris are scheduled to take their oaths of office on January 20th, 2021, 12 noon. All right. Read the rest of this article. It breaks down what the Electoral College is. We talked about that on our Sunday night show. We'll post a link here. All right. But another hurdle has taken place. And Joe Biden gave an address this evening, and Joe Biden lashed out also at Donald Trump for continuing to lie. Okay, continuing to lie. There was an article from NBC News. This one here. And then read the updates from the Washington Post. They have good live updates. Biden secures win over Trump as electoral votes put President-elect over the top. Biden offers spirited condemnation of Trump's efforts to undermine election. Biden offers spirited condemnation of Trump's efforts to undermine election. So it talks about how Joe Biden attacked Republicans for making baseless claims about the legitimacy of the election after a month of downplaying the danger of Trump's and Republicans' efforts to delegitimize Biden's win in the general election. The president-elect Joe Biden unleashed a forceful condemnation on Trump and his allies hours after the Electoral College made his win official once and for all. How many times has Biden won? I saw somebody post today for the 66th time, Biden is going to be the 46th president, something like that. How many times has Biden won? All right. So Biden called the lawsuit filed by 17 Republican attorneys general, and 126 Republican members of Congress at the Supreme Court, asking the nation's highest court to toss out results in multiple states. He called it an, quote, unprecedented assault on our democracy, So I did a special broadcast Friday dealing with this frivolous lawsuit that they tried to take to the U.S. Supreme Court. Okay, we dealt with that Friday. Go back and watch that broadcast. Biden called Republicans' efforts to undermine lawful results a, quote, position so extreme we've never seen it before. A position so extreme we've never seen it before. And he pointed out the number of Republican judges by Trump himself who dismissed who dismissed as meritless multiple efforts to overturn results in key states. So there have been over 55. All right. So check out the updates from Washington Post. We'll post this article here all from the Washington Post as well, and there's one from NBC News we're going to post also. Now, some Republicans acknowledge Biden as president-elect after Electoral College vote. Republican lawmakers on Monday evening began acknowledging somewhat that Joe Biden is the president-elect after the Electoral College convened to affirm his victory over Trump. For weeks, GOP senators and representatives had sidestepped the question, with most suggesting they wanted to, quote, let the legal process play out with regards to Trump's baseless claims of widespread voter fraud. And there has been no evidence of such fraud that would have changed the outcome of the election. That's why these lawsuits keep getting thrown out. They're being thrown out by judges who were nominated by Trump, judges who were nominated by other Republican presidents, and judges nominated by President Obama and Democratic presidents. They're being thrown out all across the country. In a statement Monday, December 14th, Senator Mike Braun, Republican of Indiana, said he was, quote unquote, disappointed by the results of the Electoral College vote, but said, quote, we must put aside politics and respect the constitutional process, end quote. He went on to say, today, the Electoral College has cast their votes and selected Joe Biden as the president-elect. State legislatures, state courts, and the United States Supreme Court have not found evidence of voter fraud to overturn the results of the Electoral College vote, end quote, Senator Mike Braun said. What the hell do you think was going to happen in the Electoral College? Man, some of these people are just cowards. Some of these people are just cowards, and they're afraid to stand up to Donald Trump and his followers. So you have statements from Senator Roy Blunt, Republican of Missouri, Senator Chuck Grassley, Republican of Iowa. Chuck Grassley said he did not have to acknowledge Biden was president-elect because the Constitution does. When pressed, Grassley simply added, I follow the Constitution. So he's a bunch of cowards. All right, so check out the updates from the Washington Post. Then we see in the coronavirus news, we see we're at 300,000 deaths. We reached 300,000 deaths today. We're at about 16.4 million cases. We see vaccinations have started with the Pfizer, with the vaccine made by Pfizer. The largest vaccination effort in nation's history is underway, with the U.S. surpassing 300,000 deaths today from COVID-19. Sandra Lindsay, an ICU nurse who's been on the front lines in New York City, was among the very first Americans to receive Pfizer's federally approved vaccine. The historic moment was live streamed by Governor Andrew Cuomo. On Sunday, trucks and cargo planes carrying the first doses began fanning out across the country. Pfizer expects to deliver 2.9 million doses to 636 locations across the country by the end of the week. Hospital workers and nursing home residents and staff are being prioritized. Most Americans likely will not receive the vaccine until next year, till 2021. Okay, Sandra Lindsay, I think she's African American as well. Let me see here. Any more quick highlights I want to go to before we go to the next topic? All right. Okay, that's that. 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a question or comment. 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a question or comment, a quick question or comment. We'll post a number here, 313-778-7600. Okay, so Associated Press has a good article also dealing with, we posted this article today on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network. U.S. COVID-19 deaths top 300,000 just as vaccinations began. And we are averaging, so we're at about 3,000 deaths per day or somewhere around that. And we're looking at the equivalent of a 911 attack every day for so the number of dead rivals the population of St. Louis or Pittsburgh, 300,000. Okay, that's the equivalent to a 911 attack every day for more than 100 days. Dr. Anthony Fauci said today the numbers are staggering, the most impactful respiratory pandemic that we have experienced in over 102 years since the iconic 1918 Spanish flu. If you look here on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, click on videos. Also on our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP. I did a presentation some months ago dealing with the history of the Spanish flu pandemic, the great pandemic of 1918. Okay, so check that out, because I get deep into the history and we deal with similarities between what happened then, what happened today. Businesses shut down, schools shut down, churches shut down, people wearing masks, people were practicing social distancing in 1918. People stopped shaking hands, things like this. And there were different cities had different responses. Some cities were more responsible in their responses, others were not. Okay. All right, so check that out. Okay. You got that. So this past Saturday, you had this rally in Washington, D.C. And we've seen the footage of it, and you had the Proud Boys and these Donald Trump supporters out there burning a banner that said Black Lives Matter. They defaced a couple of African-American churches, to my understanding. We posted this article from USA Today. At least 23 arrested as crowds turn unruly after pro-Trump rally in Washington, D.C. At least 23 arrested as crowds turn unruly after pro-Trump rally in Washington, D.C. So a crowd waving American flags and wearing masks and wearing Make America Great Again hats gathered Saturday in Freedom Plaza in support of Donald Trump and his allegations of voter fraud in the presidential election. Now, I wonder how many of these people have actually read the U.S. Constitution. I wonder how many of them have actually read the U.S. Constitution, had American government in high school, took political science in college, things like that. Because when you listen to some of them, it sounds like they live in an alternate universe. You listen to some of them, it sounds like they live in an alternate universe. Okay. So later in the evening, the scene became unruly. WRC TV reported that 4 people were taken to a hospital with stab wounds, and the Metropolitan Police Department told the station 23 people were arrested. Videos posted to social media show confrontations between Trump supporters and opponents, and people wearing pro-Trump attire attacking bystanders. In one incident, a bystander pulled out a knife after arguing with Trump supporters. In another incident, police pepper sprayed people involved in a scuffle. Now, earlier, the mood in Freedom Plaza was celebratory as speakers, including Sebastian Gorka, the white supremacist who left the Trump administration early in Trump's term. Sebastian Gorka claimed Trump had won the election and urged demonstrators to keep the pressure on state legislatures. So we talked about this nonsense Sunday show and last week, right? Because you had 126 Republicans in the House of Representatives to sign on to this fraud of a lawsuit going to the U.S. Supreme Court. So they're alleging voter fraud, and Joe Biden didn't win, Donald Trump won. So let me get this straight. You're saying that there were fraudulent votes, at least 7 million, or how many fraudulent votes are you saying for Joe Biden? Well, Joe Biden was on the same ballot as your House race was in your district. So how many of the votes for you were false? How many of the votes for you were fraudulent? Your argument is the only fraudulent votes were for Joe Biden, none for you, and your race was on the same ballot as Joe Biden. People voted on the same day. I find it very interesting that out of the 74 million votes that Trump got, none of these House Republicans are saying any of those votes were fraudulent. The only fraudulent votes were for Joe Biden. They're not saying any of the votes were fraudulent that were for them in their House races. So my thing is, well, wait a second. If you want to overturn the results of the election, shouldn't the results of the election that you won be overturned also? It's just the other guy. These members of the House of Representatives, these Republicans that won these House races, because Republicans won seats from Democrats in the House of Representatives. Republicans beat Democrats in some of these House races. So you saying all that was legitimate, but only this one over here with Joe Biden, that's what the only false votes were. None of the false votes were for you all. Yeah, right. Okay. Now, a few blocks away, things were getting tense near Black Lives Matter Plaza, not far from the White House. Police in riot gear formed a line to separate members of the Proud Boys, or the Poor Boys, as Joe Biden called them, a far-right nationalist group from counter-protesters. Proud Boys antagonized police, demanding to be let through and trading expletives with counter-protesters. On Saturday night, more videos posted to social media showed fights and documented far-right demonstrators burning a Black Lives Matter banner. The violence escalated after dark, even as police worked to keep Proud Boys members away from counter-protesters, according to the Washington Post. Now, there was one Proud Boys member that got a tour of the White House. And people were asking, well, who invited him to the White House? They're trying to figure out, was it Trump? It's like, who invited him to the White House? And they're asking, well, are they trying to legitimize the Proud Boys? Across the country in Olympia, Washington, police arrested one person after a shooting near a number of demonstrations, including a group that wanted coronavirus restrictions lifted, another protesting Trump's loss in the presidential election last month, and a Black Lives Matter protester, a Black Lives Matter counter protest. The rally in Washington, D.C. was organized by Women for America First, a conservative group that organized last month's Stop the Steal rally, which drew tens of thousands of people. As many as 15,000 people had been expected on Saturday, according to the group's permit. Now, Donald Trump tweeted Saturday morning that he was unaware of the event. He said, quote, "But I'll be seeing them," end quote. People cheered as he flew on Marine One on his way out of town for the American Navy football game in West Point, New York. Check out the rest of this. Check out the rest of this article here from USA Today. We have it on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network. The African History Network. At least 23 arrested as crowds turn unruly after pro-Trump rally in Washington, D.C. A lot of those people weren't wearing masks. And, okay. So a lot of them are going to get coronavirus. And, it is what it is. 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a quick question or comment. We have any callers, Shakita? All right. And then we see this story here. We may talk about this some more tomorrow night. Oh, also, December 13th. Forgot to talk about this on the December 13th show. December 13th was the birthday of one Morris Day. Morris Day in the time. Okay. What time is it? Morris Day turned 63. We posted this on our fan page, the African History Network. So happy birthday also to Morris Day. Kelly Loeffler, Senator Kelly Loeffler in Georgia, running against Reverend Raphael Warnock for the Georgia Senate race. Kelly Loeffler said she had no idea that she posed for a picture with a neo-Nazi. BlackAmericaWeb.com has an article dealing with this, picked up from the Associated Press. The campaign, now this is a guy also who allegedly beat an African-American man with a baseball bat or something like that. The campaign of Georgia Republican U.S. Senator Kelly Loeffler is disavowing a photo circulating on social media of her posing with a longtime white supremacist at a recent campaign event. Okay. With less than a month to go until the runoff elections that will determine the balance of the U.S. Senate. Now, Kelly Loeffler did not know that Chester Doles, D-O-L-E-S, she did not know who he was when she took a picture with him. Her campaign spokesman, Stephen Lawson, said in a statement to the Associated Press on Sunday, the picture was taken this past Friday, the campaign event in Dawsonville, Georgia. Stephen Lawson said, quote, Kelly had no idea who that was, and if she had, she would have kicked him out immediately because we condemn in the most vociferous terms everything that he stands for, end quote. Now, Doles is a longtime white supremacist who spent decades in the Ku Klux Klan and the neo-Nazi National Alliance. According to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, Doles was sentenced to prison for the 1993 beating of a black man in Maryland and again on weapons violations in Georgia. In response to a message from, so Doles is also associated with the Hammerskins, which is a racist skinhead gang with whom he marched in the 2017 Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia. So Charlottesville, Virginia, Unite the Right rally. That's where the chaos broke out. And that's where a lot of people were injured, and Heather Heyer was killed, okay, when the car ran through a group of protesters, okay? He was there also. I wonder what he was doing there, okay? Maybe he was there trying to protect property because he was so concerned about property, okay, being damaged. Now, in response to a message from the Associated Press, Chester Doles, in response to a message from the Associated Press, we'll go to the phone line in just a minute here. Chester Doles said Sunday he had, quote, publicly renounced racism on several occasions in the past couple of years. Chester Doles added that he attended a, quote, redemption service standing in front of an all-black congregation and told my story and renounced all racism and asked for God's forgiveness. Now, that is true. Some white supremacists have a come to Jesus moment, realize the error of their ways, and repent and change their ways. That does happen. I don't know if that happened with Chester, but that does happen with some of them, not all of them, but it does happen. Okay. Doles posted the picture of him and Kelly Loeffler to his account on VK, a Russian social networking site. Well, what the hell is he doing on a Russian social networking site? Okay. Where he has posted pictures of himself posing with Georgia politicians, including Republican Congresswoman elect Marjorie Taylor Greene, the paper reported. Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene is a QAnon conspiracy theory proponent. There's, it's like you start looking at who these people hang around. It's like, what the hell is wrong with you? Let's quickly go to the phone lines. Let's go to line one. Shago, line one. Welcome to the
Michael Imhotep. How are you?
All right. How you doing? Tell us where you're calling from.
I'm calling from Highland Park, Michigan.
Highland Park, Michigan. Okay, go ahead quickly with your question or comment.
The last few days you had mentioned various artists and entertainers, and I just wanted to mention that on Saturday, December 12th, Dionne Warwick turned 80 years old.
Yeah, we posted about that on our Facebook fan page. Yeah, thanks for announcing that. Yeah, she did. 80 years old.
Yep.
80 years old. Yep, Dionne Warwick. Yep. And
All right, just wanted to add her to the worthy of mention.
Okay, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for listening.
All right, Mike.
All right, peace. And then also today is the birth date of Lillian Randolph as well. We posted this this morning. It was at the National R&B Music Society posted about this. Lillian Randolph, was that today? Yeah, I think that was this morning. Lillian Randolph, African-American female actress. And she was, if I remember correctly, Lillian Randolph. Well, she was one of the, here we go here. Remembering Lillian Randolph on the day of her birth, actress and singer, a veteran of radio, film, and television. She worked in entertainment from the 1930s until shortly before her death. She appeared in hundreds of radio shows, motion pictures, short subjects, and television shows. Lillian Randolph is most recognized for appearing in It's a Wonderful Life in 1946, the movie Magic 1978, and The Onion Field in 1979, the last of which was her final on-screen project. She prominently contributed her voice to the character Mammy Two Shoes in the Tom and Jerry cartoons between 1940 and 1952. She was born December 14th, 1898. She passed away September 12th, 1980, Lillian Randolph. So I've heard some old radio shows with Lillian Randolph on it. Okay, so she's born 1898. All right, that is the 2 years after Plessy versus Ferguson, U.S. Supreme Court case 1896. That's the year before James Weldon Johnson wrote the words to what would become known as Lift Every Voice and Sing, which became known as the Black National Anthem. He wrote that in 1899, James Weldon Johnson. All right. In 1898, that's 3 years after Frederick Douglass died in 1895. Okay, Lillian Randolph. All right. Okay, we're going to continue this discussion on our social media platforms, our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, and our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep. We're going to talk about December 11th, 1917, U.S. Army executes 13 African-American soldiers in Texas. Find out what happened and why. So those watching us on Facebook and YouTube, keep watching. We're out of time here on 910 AM, the Superstation, the Future Radio, WFDF in Detroit. If you like this type of information, also, you can donate to the African History Network. $, the AHN Show through Cash App. $, the AHN Show through Cash App. And then also through PayPal, paypal.me. /the AHN Show, paypal.me/the AHN Show, and at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Click on the yellow donate button. Also, my DVD lectures are there, digital downloads, and we have a recommended reading list of about 70 books there, and you can read articles that I've written also. Remember, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you tomorrow night. Peace. Stand by. Let me disconnect from the radio station. All right, let's keep going. How's everybody doing? African American business owners, post and name your business here on the thread of the broadcast. Email us at customerservice@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, customerservice@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Okay, and we'll let you know how you can advertise with the African History Network. We have a special promotion going on right now for a few more days. And we create a video commercial for you, also no additional charge. And we run your video commercial when we re-air these shows. We re-air these shows throughout the day on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, and our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep. And also, these shows are in audio podcast format as well. So wherever you get your audio podcast from, search for The African History Network Show, The African History Network Show also. Okay. And if you go to our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, click on listen to podcasts right on the home page. Are you ready for a new black economy? Well, Happy, the role of the development of civilization, is a brand documentary that will set you on a new path of knowledge and enlightenment. The Happy film gives viewers a snapshot of our economic history from the civilization right up till today. The underlying theme of the interrelationship between the three essential components of economics, politics, and culture. It brings together the brightest and most prolific mind fields of psychology, history, business, and ethics, such as Dr. Leonard Jeffries, Professor James Small, Dr. Julian Malveaux, Dr. Hawass, and Jabari Azi, and more. Together, they deliver a message of economics, financial independence, and a pride we can all be inspired by. The film is on sale now. It's streaming on all digital formats or for DVD. Please visit Happy, H-P-I, happyfilm.com. Use offer code HAPPY and for a % discount. Intuitive Design Clothing is an online accessory store that sells of-a-kind signature statement pieces for men and women. They also specialize in fashion consultations, closet organization, and decorating small spaces. Are you looking for a statement piece for a special affair, or would you like to add some select pieces to your ensemble of accessories? If you're looking for something different, definitely contact Norman, owner and CEO of Intuitive Design Clothing. Visit their website, intuitivedesignclothing.com. That's intuitivedesignclothing.com, and you can go at info, intuitivedesignclothing.com. Intuitive Design Clothing, every entrance is a grand entrance. Visit 4glossygirls.com. That's the number 4glossygirls.com, and follow them on Instagram at 4glossygirls. Soul Natural Beauty Products, organic, plant-based skin and hair care products that will rejuvenate and naturally grow and thicken hair. Their shea butter can heal or restore damaged skin cells to prevent hyperpigmentation and skin breakouts. All products are made with organic plant-based ingredients. Their maximum hair growth oil is fortified with organic herbal extracts and undeniably proves that Mother Nature knows best. It thickens, lengthens, and conditions all types of hair. They even guarantee hair improvement within 90 days or a full refund. Their all-natural 24-hour deodorant leaves the body smelling fresh without sweating for up to 24 hours. It does not stain fabric, goes on smoothly, and has a refreshing lavender and frankincense aroma. It can be used by men, women, and even children. Place your order today at soulnaturalbeautyproducts.com. That's soulnaturalbeautyproducts.com, and follow them book at Soul Natural Beauty Products.
Do you have an idea or business that requires app development or thinking of moving your IT resources to the cloud? We have post-paid and profit-sharing plans for unique ideas or profitable businesses. Who can take advantage of this unique program? Entrepreneurs with unique ideas, startups, small to medium businesses. Contact us 267-209-0352.
All right, we'll get Lillian Randolph talking about her. We're going to get to the story here dealing with the African-American soldiers back in 1917. But very quickly here, and I think probably blackpast.org probably has a write-up on Lillian Randolph as well. If I remember correctly, Lillian Randolph was one of the women to portray the character of Beulah on radio also. I want to take a quick look here. Okay, at Detroit's WXYZ, she was noticed by George W. Trendle, station owner and developer of the Lone Ranger radio show. He got her into radio training courses, which paid off in roles for local radio shows. So those that know me, they know I'm a big old radio show buff, right? So I've listened to probably thousands of old radio shows. I've listened to 200 episodes of Dragnet. The Lone Ranger, Sergeant Preston of the Yukon, and the Green Hornet all came out of WXYZ radio studios in Detroit. The Lone Ranger, Sergeant Preston of the Yukon, and the Green Hornet. When you listen to those shows and you look at the credits, they have some of the same actors and actresses in those three shows. Okay. Okay, so the Midnight Funk Association. Yeah, that was the electrifying mojo on WJLB. I used to listen to the Midnight Funk Association when I was younger in middle school and high school, and I'm in the bed listening and I'm supposed to be asleep. I used to listen to the electrifying mojo. Okay, so Lillian Randolph was tutored by a Caucasian actor for 3 months on racial dialect, quote unquote, racial dialect, before getting any radio roles. She moved on to Los Angeles in 1936 to work on Al Jolson's radio show on Big Town and on the Al Pierce show, Pearce, and to sing at the club Alabama there also. Now, let me see something here. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Lillian Randolph was on The Great Gildersleeve. Lillian Randolph played Bird. That's why her name sounded familiar. That's why. Yeah, Lillian Randolph was Birdie on the TV show The Great Gildersleeve, but also on the radio show The Great Gildersleeve as well. I've listened to like every episode of The Great Gildersleeve. This is like going way back in the radio history. This is going back to the 40s, 1940s. The Great Gildersleeve was a spinoff of another really popular radio show called Fibber McGee and Molly. Fibber McGee and Molly. Okay, don't ask me how I know all this. All right. So Lillian Randolph is best known as the maid Birdie Lee Coggins, Coggins, from The Great Gildersleeve radio comedy show and subsequent films, and as Madam Queen on the Amos and Andy radio show and television show, the Amos and Andy television show from 1937 to 1953. She was cast in The Great Gildersleeve job on the basis of her wonderful laugh. Upon hearing the Gildersleeve program was beginning, Lillian Randolph made a dash to NBC. She tore down the halls when she opened the door for the program. She fell on her face. Randolph was not hurt and she laughed. This got her the job. She also portrayed Birdie in the television version of The Great Gildersleeve. Okay. So you can read more about this. Is an entry from Wikipedia about Lillian Randolph. And the National R&B Society, when they had the write-up on her, they did not mention The Great Gildersleeve. See, I remember her from old radio. And I've listened to like thousands of old radio shows. Everything from Dragnet to The Shadow to the Green Hornet. The Green Hornet is like one of my favorite. Okay, Britt Reed is the Green Hornet. Now, here's some background history on this, right? The Green Hornet, Britt Reed, is the grandnephew of the Lone Ranger. The Lone Ranger's name was John Reed, okay? The reason why he's called the Lone Ranger is because he was with a group of Texas Rangers that were ambushed and they were killed. He was the only one that survived. That's why he's called the Lone Ranger, L-O-N-E, not L-O-N-G, L-O-N-E. So when you watch so I was doing research some years ago and I was researching Bass Reeves, the African-American lawman in Oklahoma. And it's believed that Bass Reeves is the real life lawman that the character of the Lone Ranger is based upon. And based upon my research, it is. Okay. The Lone Ranger gave out silver bullets. Bass Reeves gave out silver dollars. The Lone Ranger had 2 guns. Bass Reeves had 2 guns. The Lone Ranger had a Indian companion, Tonto. Bass Reeves oftentimes had an Indian companion as well. The Lone Ranger dressed up oftentimes as disguises to go into the bad guy's lair, the enemy lair, to gain information. That's the same thing Bass Reeves did. When you go study Bass Reeves, dude, you start seeing all these similarities between Bass Reeves and the Lone Ranger. It gets even deeper. So the Bass Reeves is said to have captured about 3,000 bad guys. A lot of the criminals that he arrested did time in a prison in Detroit, Michigan. Okay. Well, the Lone Ranger came out of the studios of WXYZ radio in Detroit. So when you start studying these similarities between Bass Reeves and the Lone Ranger, it's uncanny. But so what I did was I watched all 5 seasons of the Lone Ranger TV show. They were on Hulu a few years ago. They may still be there. And the first 4 seasons is from the 1950s. First 4 seasons in black and white, last season in color. So then I started seeing all these similarities between the Lone Ranger and Bass Reeves from watching the TV show. Well, the Lone Ranger had a nephew, a 16-year-old nephew in the TV show and in radio named Dan Reed. So there's some episodes where Dan Reed is with his uncle John Reed and Tonto, like during the summer. Okay. So Dan Reed then later has a son named Britt Reed. Britt Reed is the Lone Ranger. I mean, the Britt Reed is the Green Hornet. When you study the Green Hornet and the Lone Ranger, because I studied the history of the Green Hornet radio show, as well as the Lone Ranger, there's a interlocking storyline. There's a connection in the storyline. Britt Reed is the grand nephew to the Lone Ranger. Okay. It was, and I think it's I don't think it's the great grandnephew. I think it's the grandnephew. Yeah. But he's Britt Reed, the Green Hornet, is a descendant of the Lone Ranger. They both wore masks. Also, they both had companions as well. And both of those shows came out of WXYZ radio stations in Detroit. And let me see something here. I know I've got this. I got all this stuff bookmarked. Okay, but let's continue here. Because we did 3 hours and 20 minutes last night. I ain't trying to do that today. We did the show was 2 hours. We did 3 hours and 20 minutes yesterday. I'm going through editing the video now. I ain't trying to do that tonight. Let me see something here. All right, let's continue. How's everybody doing? We got Linda, we got Cranston, Swollen, Christy. Everybody share this broadcast on your social media platforms, okay? Yeah, the Lone Ranger's nephew was Dan Reed in the Green Hornet radio shows. Let me pull this up here. Series originated January 31st, 1936. And WXYZ 1935, George W. Trendle, the WXYZ co-owner radio station and managing partner who had spearheaded the development of the Lone Ranger, sought to bring on air a similar series with Fran Stryker and director James Jewell. Trendle and director James Jewell. Trendle sought to create a series that would show that a political system could be riddled with corruption and that one man could successfully combat this white collar lawlessness. Liking the acoustic possibilities of a B sound, BEE, like a bumblebee, George W. Trendle directed it to be incorporated into the show. The team experimented with names, with Trendle liking the Hornet, but that name had been used elsewhere and could have posed, trademark problems. Colors, including blue and pink, were considered before the creators settled on green, and they settled on the Green Hornet. Let me see here. Relationship to Lone Ranger. The Lone Ranger's nephew was Dan Reed, in the Green Hornet radio shows. The Hornet's father was likewise named Dan Reed, making Britt Reed the Lone Ranger's grandnephew. Okay. I just want to make sure I was correct on that. All right, let's continue. Okay, where were we? Okay, so we're talking about Senator Kelly Loeffler. Read the rest of this. She said she didn't know she was taking a picture with a guy, former member of the Ku Klux Klan, etc. That's blackamericaweb.com. And they have a article that we posted dealing with that today. Also, D.L. Hughley posted about this as well. Let me see if I want to get the correct title of the one we posted. Just a second here. It was something dealing with beating a African American man. And I want to make sure I got the right title. Let's see. Okay, Senator Kelly Loeffler. All right, we'll continue here. I'm going to try to find that. Article. Maybe it was on, maybe I posted on my personal page. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so December 11th, 1917. December 11th, 1917, and this comes from Equal Justice Initiative, EJI.org. U.S. Army executes 13 black soldiers in Houston, Texas. U.S. Army executes 13 black soldiers in Houston, Texas. On December 11th, 1917, U.S. Army executed 13 black soldiers who had been previously court-martialed and denied any right to appeal. In July 1917, the all-black 3rd Battalion of the 24th United States Infantry Regiment was stationed at Camp Logan near Houston, Texas, to guard Camp Logan in Houston, Texas, near Houston, Texas, to guard white soldiers preparing for deployment to Europe. From the beginning of their assignment at Camp Logan, the black soldiers were harassed and abused by the Houston police force. Okay. The black soldiers were harassed and abused by the Houston police force. And we're going to try to pull this up here. Okay. On August 23rd, 1917, several soldiers, including a well-respected corporal, were brutally beaten and jailed by police. Police officers regularly beat African-American troops and arrested them on baseless charges. The August 23rd assault was the latest in a string of police abuses that had pushed the African-American soldiers to their breaking point, Seemingly under attack by local white authorities, over 150 African-American soldiers armed themselves and left for Houston, Texas, to confront the police about the persistent violence. They planned to stage a peaceful march to the police station as a demonstration against their mistreatment by police. However, just outside the city, the soldiers encountered a mob of armed white men. In the ensuing violence, 4 soldiers, 4 policemen, and 12 civilians were killed. 4 soldiers, 4 policemen, and 12 civilians were killed. In the aftermath, the military investigated and court-martialed 157 African-American soldiers. 157 African-American soldiers were investigated and court-martialed, trying them in 3 separate proceedings. In the first military trial held in November 1917, 63 soldiers were tried and 54 were convicted on all charges. At sentencing, 13 13 of the soldiers were sentenced to death, and 43 of the soldiers received life imprisonment. Okay. 13 of these African-American soldiers were sentenced to death, and 43 received life imprisonment. The 13 condemned soldiers were denied any right to appeal and were hanged on December 11th, 1917. The second and third trials resulted in death sentences for an additional 16 soldiers. However, those men were given the opportunity to appeal, largely due to negative reactions to the first 13 African-American soldiers who were unlawfully executed. President Woodrow Wilson ultimately commuted the death sentences for 10 of the remaining soldiers facing death, but the remaining 6 were hanged. In total, the Houston, Texas unrest resulted in the executions of 9 African-American soldiers. NAACP advocacy and legal assistance later helped secure the early release of most of the 50 soldiers serving life sentences. No white civilians were ever brought to trial for involvement in the violence. Okay. So in total, the Houston unrest resulted in the executions of, 19 black soldiers. All right. So that was from EJI.org, December 11th, 1917. Black soldiers executed for Houston riot. U.S. Army executes 13 black soldiers in Texas. That's the piece from EJI.org, the Equal Justice Initiative. Now, the Zen Education Project also has a piece on this that we posted as well. December 11th, 1917, black soldiers executed for Houston riot. Okay. And it talks about how on December 11th, 1917, 13 African-American soldiers were hanged just outside of San Antonio, Texas, for alleged participation in the Houston riot, or also referred to as the Houston Mutiny, that took place in August 1917. The Houston riot was started after a case of police brutality as described by Paris, Texas, by the Paris, Texas branch of the NAACP. They said, quote, at noon on August 23rd, 1917, police dragged an African-American woman from her home and arrested her for public drunkenness. A soldier from the camp asked what was going on and was beaten and arrested as well. When Corporal Charles Baltimore, a military police officer, learned of the arrest, he went to the police station to investigate. He was beaten, then shot at as he was chased away. Rumors soon reached the camp that Charles Baltimore had been killed and that a white mob was approaching. Soldiers armed themselves and began their march toward the city. A riot ensued, leaving 16 white people dead, including 5 policemen. 4 African-American soldiers also died. The Army held 3 court-martials following the Houston riot and found 110 African-Americans guilty. 19 African-American soldiers were executed and 63 received life sentences in federal prison. 2 white officers faced court-martial, but they were released. No white civilians were brought to trial. All right. The 13 soldiers hanged on December 11th were Sergeant William C. Nesbitt, Corporal Larson J. Brown, Corporal James Wheatley, Corporal Jesse Moore, Corporal Charles W. Baltimore, Private William Brackenridge, Private Thomas C. Hawkins, Private Carlos Snodgrass, Private Ira B. Davis, Private James Devine, Private Frank Johnson, Private Rossley W. Young, and Private Pat McWhorter. Okay, so you can check this out from the Zinn, Zinn. They have a lot of good articles there. The Zen Education Project at zenproject.org, because we posted this one also. I think this was the first one we posted. I've posted about this course in the past, but today we posted this article first from the Zen Education Project. And then we posted the one from EJI.org. And usually I try to post each day one of the posts from EJI.org. They deal with like this date in African American history and something that happened, usually something tragic, because they're dealing with lynchings. Okay, so, and then we try to post about birthdays of celebrities, things like that, African American celebrities. There's some history in there as well, and we share some content from we share birthday posts from the National R&B Music Society and Soul TV to lighten things up, but that ties into history also. All right. How's everybody doing? Okay. Hey, if you like this type of information, also you can donate to the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, and also through PayPal, paypal.me /the AHN Show, paypal.me /the AHN Show. Okay. That's the Zen Education Project, ZINN, the Zen Education Project. And their website is zenedproject.org, zenedproject.org. All right. And then what we'll do is on our Tuesday show, we'll deal with that segment, grown man versus grown male, grown man versus grown male. We'll deal with that on the Tuesday show. I didn't get a chance to squeeze that in here, so we'll deal with that on our Tuesday show. That was DeAndre Whitfield, who was on Sister Circle Live. He's talking about the difference between a grown man and a grown male. A grown man is there to be of service. A grown male is there to be serviced. Okay, and he's talking about how to understand the difference. So we'll do a segment dealing with that on our Tuesday show, and people can call in and voice their opinion. So the article from blackamericaweb.com, Kelly Loeffler smiles with ex-KKK leader who nearly beat a black man to death. That was an earlier article dealing with Kelly Loeffler and the alleged white supremacist she was taking a picture with. Okay. And then let me see. Is this the same article? No, this is from, okay. So that one is from Bruce C.T. Wright, who also writes for news1.com. Kelly Loeffler smiles with ex-KKK leader who nearly beat a black man to death. That is from blackamericaweb.com. And then Black America Web had a follow-up article they picked up from the Associated Press. Loeffler campaign, she had no idea she posed with neo-Nazi. Okay, so she's saying, you know, she had no idea he was a white supremacist, you know, anything like that. So, hey, I had a joke that I was going to make, but I didn't, but I am. So it's like, because I could just see Kelly Loeffler. So keep in mind, see, Kelly Loeffler also is part owner of a WNBA team, and she's against Black Lives Matter. So she was against her players who supported the Black Lives Matter movement and spoke out against the killing of Breonna Taylor, things like that, right? So, you know, I was thinking Kelly Loeffler would say something like, KKK, is that like roadside assistance for white supremacists? Is that like AAA, right? KKK. So anyway, that's just the way I think. But is KKK roadside assistance for white supremacists? Like AAA, right? All right, look, hey, we had to get out of here. Remember, the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's correct wrong behavior. We're here 6 days a week, Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time. We broadcast the first hour on 9:10 a.m. Superstation WFDF here in Detroit. I do radio here in Detroit. And then we continue on our social media platforms as we go over. We're wrapping up earlier tonight than some nights. And then Sundays, I've been doing the Sunday time slot, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. for 4 years on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation. So we still do Sundays as well. Okay. So on 6 days a week, African-American business owners email us at customer service at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, customer service at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. And we'll let you know how you can advertise with the African History Network also. Okay. And we rebroadcast a lot of these shows throughout the day on our Facebook fan page and our YouTube channel. All right, look, we have to get out of here. Remember, right now it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace. Have you the world famous no frowny brownie yet? Pink Bakery? If not, what are you waiting for? They're vegan, gluten-free, free of the big 8 allergens. While eating no frowny brownies, fabulous Miss Tabitha Brown said they were very good. Very good. And you know, if she said they are. The Pink Bakery is the first black-owned, big allergen-free baking mix company. Go to thebakery.com. That's pinkbakery.com. Order their no frowny brownie mix. For 25 years, the Black 101 Mobile Museum has carried on the legacy of the Black movement in America, showcasing original artifacts of the Black experience at universities, K-12 schools, corporations, libraries, conferences, and cultural events, making the most traversed Black history mobile exhibit in America. Dr. Khalid El-Hakam is the founder of the Black History One Mobile Museum, and he is a highly sought-after speaker on top history, social education, museum studies, and relations. Dr. was named among the speakers for NBC Erase campaign and one of the 100 Men of Distinction Black Enterprise. He recently founded the Michigan Hip Hop Archive on the campus of Michigan University. The Black History 101 Mobile Museum is currently in person and virtual exhibits nationwide. For more information, please contact Dr. Khalid Al-Haq directly at 316-445-417, 313-64417, or visit their website at blackhistorymobile.com. That's blackhistorymuseum.com. You can also email him b101@yahoo.com, bhistory1@yahoo.com.
Melanin is an independently Black-owned rated film company. We specialize in producing enriching Black films at melanizedmedia.com. Join us every Sunday for Melanized Nights. Screen a conscious documentary film historic presentation. That's Sunday evening at p.m. Visit melanizedmedia.com to learn and to register. That's MELANEYES media.com.
Al-Cubalan's life attitude is servitude. They focus on providing quality products and customer service. They're here to fulfill your men's and women's clothing, accessories, health and products, essentials, fragrances, hair products, and much more. Check out their collection of clothing and products for African kings and queens. Visit their website, alcubalanlife.com, ALBULAN, alcubalanlife.com. They look forward to serving you. Janelle Apothecary creates unique products, especially with you in mind. Use simple ingredients such as whole fruits, herbs, and vegetables. Each product crafted offers a unique plant-based experience. Their holistic approach to care formulate product inventory. Proud to serve our community of plant-based product suppliers and offerings for the entire family. Janelle Apothecary designed over 60 different beautifully handcrafted soaps, natural toothpaste, hydrating oils, deodorants, face masks, shampoos, conditioners, and so much more. Visit their website at sageandelmapothecary.com. That's sageandelmapothecary.com, APOTHECARY, and find out about their upcoming events throughout the year. Allow Sage and Elm Apothecary to provide for all of your plant-based needs. Use promo code AHN Winter 20. AHN